Please mind the gap between the blockchain and user adoption. The next station is the Blockchain Meets Marketing podcast. Please stand clear of the doors. Here comes your host, Ani Alexander.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to the Blockchain Meets Marketing show. So again, as always, as promised, daily show at 4 p.m. London time. I go live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and we talk about different topics related to blockchain marketing. So today, what I want to talk to you about is who should influence your marketing decisions. How are you making the decisions about your blockchain startup marketing and how to approach this, right? What is that one thing that is very important that you should take into account, and why I feel like there are many things that are going wrong from that point on if you don't really have the right mindset into place. So what I'm talking about today is your user and your customer. Whoever you are building, whatever your startup is building, right? Or whoever you are building your service or product for. So why is it so important? It's important because many people, many blockchain founders think that they are their customer. So they are building things for themselves, but it's not always the case. And if your customer profile is different from yours, then whether you like some things or not in your marketing ideas is completely irrelevant. So the thing is, it's very important to know who you are building the thing for and who is going to be your user. Because the better you know about that user, the better you will know how to approach them and how to attract them and how to make them actually want to use your product. So that's the most important thing that you should focus on. And why I'm saying this is because very often we have these common mistakes of what's happening in terms of who blockchain startups are marketing, right? And where do their marketing efforts go towards? So for example, very often, obviously, especially with startups, there are limited budgets. Most probably you don't have too much money to spend on marketing, which means that you have to be very strategic in terms of where do you spend the money, how do you spend the money, and how do you make sure that the money brings the right ROI and that your funds have been spent efficiently, especially in the blockchain space where everything tends to be quite expensive in terms of, since the ICO times, now things are relatively better, but especially in ICO times, everything was way more expensive just because it was blockchain related, right? It was crypto related. So the PPC was more expensive, the paid PR pieces were more expensive, influencers were charging enormous amounts of money, which none of the other influencers in other spaces were able to charge, right? So how do you decide that? Like, why I'm saying that very often the focus is at the wrong place is because very often blockchain founders make different marketing efforts and do different paid marketing activities and spend money on things that they shouldn't spend money absolutely on at all. So to put things in a short way, what is it that you should take into account when you are doing especially paid marketing is are you, with this marketing, are you reaching your potential future users? Are you making sure that the future potential users are the ones who see the advertising, who listen to the influencer, or who hear your speech at an event? If the answer is no, then no matter how amazing that activity sounds like, no matter how good it seems, it's just going to be useless, right? So so that is why the exercise of understanding who is your user and what are their needs and wants, and I'm not only talking about the demographics of that persona, but also the psychographics of that persona. What are their problems? What are they looking for? Where do they get their information from? Et cetera, et cetera. What topics are they interested in, et cetera, right? And then, the more you know about that person, the better you will know how to reach out to them, right? So when I'm talking about mistakes, let's just, give you one example from my past experiences. During the ICO times, for example, I'm sure you remember that many startups, many companies were spending tons of money on roadshows, on speaking at different conferences and events, and also on getting booths and sponsorships for these big conferences. So I was among very few who was really against that whole idea and thought that that amount spent is not worth spending at all, and that it was something that shouldn't really been done at all for the ICO marketing. And let me explain why. The problem is, again, when I'm explaining to you that you need to understand who your user is and how to reach them, the problem back then was ICO marketing was targeting the token buyers, right? The potential token buyers, buyers of your token. And all the marketing efforts were basically targeting these people, making sure that these people find out about your project, trust the project enough to want to buy your token. And everything was going to be around that, right? Well, actually, what happens when you are going to these roadshows and places like that? I don't know if back then you've been on any of these conferences, but there are no token buyers on those conferences. Back then, there were no token buyers. So on these conferences, what you eventually were doing, most of the startups founders spent tons of money, plus the travel and accommodation and everything else, to go to an event where they were going to speak in front of the audience, which was completely irrelevant, and who were not going to buy their tokens because they were not token buyers. So who were in their audience? Other companies like theirs who were initiating ICOs. So basically, in some cases, if you were building a similar project, even your competitors. And also, guess what? Companies who were there to pitch startups like yours for different services, such as marketing and, ICO marketing or ICO PR services. So that was the main audience. So those were the people you were trying to impress. Were these people going to buy your token? No. Were these people going to be excited enough to go out there and talk about your project and promote it to others? No. Was it worth the money? Absolutely not. What we did instead when I was doing ICO marketing was trying to figure out just the opposite. Okay, yes, on these big conferences, there are no token buyers. Where are the token buyers, right? Talking about your customer, your future customer, or your future user. In the ICO kind of times, that those were the token buyers that you were after. So fine, you know where they are not. Where are they instead? So I realized that where they were actually on different small meetups. So there were tons of different meetups all over the world, in different cities. They were very small. They were about 100 people each, not very big. So you had a room of 100 people, but all 100 people were potential token buyers. So even if 10 people out of these 100 were going to buy your token based on what they heard you tell them during your speech on that event, it still was going to be way better conversion than the roadshows and big conferences. And guess what? The beauty of it, it was all free. So all you were investing was going to be your time and energy and, and preparation of the speech, basically. So going to 10 events like that and covering 1,000 people, very relevant targeted people, and it was free and was way more beneficial, and the conversion was amazing. So think of it from that perspective. Who you are trying to impress. Very often what happens is, because of the ego issues that many startup founders have, and especially blockchain startup founders have, there is this idea of looking around, trying to impress the competitors, trying to impress the people in the space, trying to do things where you're actually convincing that your project is good. You're convincing the people that you don't really need as users or customers of your project in the future. So who should drive your decisions in marketing? Your future user. Every time you're thinking about different initiatives and activities and revising the budgets and making decisions about whether you should do something or not, please remember your user, who is going to be the center. I mean, your marketing should be customer centric. So always remember the customer, always put him in the center of your decision making, and think about how much this activity actually is going to help reach that user. And then make the decisions accordingly. Because if the people in the blockchain space get super impressed by you, but your service or product is providing, is targeting people who are not from the blockchain space, yes, it's nice for authority, it's nice for credibility, it's nice for brand awareness, but eventually at the end of the day, it's not so relevant, because you get all that among the people who are not the people that you're going to try to acquire when you go to market. So very often what happens with the blockchain startups, what they think is that they need to target, when they say blockchain marketing, they think about actually marketing to blockchain people, right? Actually marketing to cryptosphere. And what happens very often, they think that just because they have a token, or just because they are they use blockchain technology underneath of whatever they are building, they need the crypto audience to know about them, and they have to market to them. But guess what? If whatever you are building is not built as for the crypto audience, then crypto influencers are irrelevant. No matter, even if you know a really big, nice, good, credible crypto influencer who is your friend and who's going to make a coverage of your project for free, which almost never happens. But anyway, even if that's the case, it's going to be irrelevant, because you're going to get loads of coverage, but you're going to get a coverage among the crypto crowd. If the crypto crowd or crypto person is not your ideal user base or your ideal user persona, then no matter how many people like that will see a YouTube review about your project, it won't really matter. I mean, who cares, right? So please remember and think about this. Please think about whether who you are providing solution for, who are you going to try to acquire once your product or service is out there, and try to gain attention and to get exposure, exposure where these type of people can see you. So make sure that you look at it from that perspective. Don't get distracted by following and doing what everyone else is doing, because believe me, sometimes everyone can be wrong. And I know that you may be very skeptical about it, but sometimes it's just herd reaction. Someone did something and then everyone followed, and no one really took a step back, took a pause, and thought about whether these things should be done or not. So just because everyone went to conferences didn't mean that you had to spend tons of money and go to these conferences if your token buyers were not there. Just because everyone uses influencers doesn't mean that you need to use those influencers, because maybe the influencers audience have nothing to do and have nothing in common with your user base, with the future users that you're trying to acquire. So yes, I mean, definitely look at best practices, look at what others are doing, but that just don't take it for granted that it's the correct way to do things, right? Just look at it from the perspective of the future user, and have it be the guiding kind of guiding parameter for your decision making. So that's basically what I had for you today. I am not sure if the comments are not showing up or I just can't see it. So if you're watching this, please leave a comment or leave a question. I can't really see anything popping up, so it's either another glitch or you just don't have anything to say, which is fine. It happens. But again, just to wrap this up, thank you very much for everyone who watched the live stream and who's also listening to the audio version of the podcast. This was powered by Amazix. Amazix is a global blockchain consultancy and marketing firm, and everything that I'm talking to you about usually on this show is based on real experiences. It's based on things that we have experienced and we are doing with our clients. So yeah, if you need any help, check us out. Other than that, every day 4 p.m. 4 p.m. London time, I'm going live. It's definitely, someone was commenting that it's going to be very hectic. I absolutely agree with you. I'm still on Wednesday. It's still the third day in a row. The tension is high. It's already stressful. So yes, it's not easy. But again, I don't give up so soon, and I already committed publicly. So if I said that I'm going to do it, I'm definitely going to do it. Ferdinand, thanks for watching. You can watch the replay. I'm keeping this one short, so I hope it was straight to the point. I hope I managed to convince you, and kind of it made sense why you should make sure that all your marketing decisions are user-centric, that the user, your future user, your ideal client, your ideal customer is the person who needs to be in the center of everything that you're building around him. And yeah, I'll meet you tomorrow. So thanks a lot. Take care. If you prefer the audio version, I'm polishing them up so it's less rambling. It's more kind of shorter, straight to the point episodes. Any of the platforms that you prefer, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever it is, just subscribe and leave a review if you have time. If no, I'll meet you tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Take care. And if there is any topic that you would like me to cover, please drop in comments, and I will make sure that I address this in one of the future episodes. So the last thing is about subscriptions. So if you want to make sure, here it is. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss out anything, I'm moving everything to, apart from my website, anialexander.com, everything will be there. All the versions, the video versions and the audio versions, the player, everything will be in one place with some short notes, etc. But also what you can do is you can subscribe on the Substack newsletter, and you will be notified every time something is happening. In order not to annoy you, I'm not going to send you daily emails, so don't worry about that. What I'll do is I will wrap up the week, and just in one newsletter we'll add all the 5 episodes, all the 5 pieces, so you can check them out all in once, and I don't clutter your inbox either. So sign up if you don't want to miss anything and you want to be notified about the future things that will be coming out. Other than that, I'll be around and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.